Get in the face of these lames to prove these niggas puss. I'm hater proof. My goons in your hood, they leave your neighbor shook.
What up,
I'm like
y'all?
the
What up,
Taylor
y'all?
Soup.
It's your boy, Mr. Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn Channel Sweatbox. We back. We live. We active. Yes, it is. You know how we do. Sometimes I get so excited I can't even get the words out. Today, let's talk some NBA hoops, y'all. Got my trusty phone of information as I look to it to get some stats and to relay the news to you guys in a semi-professional manner. There is absolutely nothing professional about this show at all. I'm on my couch chilling, talking to the camera. Y'all either like it or you don't. You either on board with it or you ain't. Let's talk some hoops, you guys. So the end of the season is pretty much here. We got about a dozen games left, give or so a game depending on the team. But we got about 12 games left around before the end of the season. And oh my, how things have changed in a week, or since the last time I did an NBA news video. I think it's been about a week. I'm not sure. But let's start in the East. The Cavs continue to struggle, so that ain't changed since last week. 4-6 in their last 10 games. They just lost one the other night. The Celtics are basically tied with them. They still got 2 more losses, but they've played more games. But they each got 46 wins, man. Might the Cavs actually lose the #1 seed? I'll laugh if it happens. I will laugh if it happens. Yeah, man. The other day they had a pretty good game. Kyrie put up like 46 the other day, but they lost last night to, I think, Atlanta. I think they lost to Atlanta last night, who's not playing terrible. Hawks is right there, 37-34. It's a 5 seed. Here's right now. So right now, the Miami Heat are sitting at the 8 seed, with the Chicago Bulls right behind them as the 9 seed. Oh, how frustrating is that going to be if the Miami Heat make the playoffs without Dwayne Wade and Chicago misses the playoffs with Dwayne Wade? That is going to be heartbreaking. But that's the bottom of the division. Let's get to the top of the conference. We just told you about the Cavs and the Celtics. The Wizards have slipped a little bit. They still got an outside shot at that #1 seed, but it doesn't look likely. They're 43-28. Still a formidable team, though. But the Raptors are the team that I actually feel like they've had the worst. They're not even had a bad season. I'm not saying that at all. But they've had the worst decline last year. Started this season, I would have had them as the #2 team in the Eastern Conference. I would have had Toronto as the #2 team in the Eastern Conference, and they've dropped all the way down to the 5 spot. Or to the 4 spot, excuse me. With the Wizards and the Celtics both doing better than them. The Celtics, I don't know if I'm going to say the Celtics are the surprise team, because they were a playoff team last year. But to think that they might have a shot at the #1 seed, nobody saw that coming. I mean, that team plays good basketball, man. That team plays good basketball. It's going to be interesting because I think Washington is still a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams. I think Washington is still a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be interesting to see because they got guys at almost every position and they match up very well. And then that backcourt is playing some good ball. John Wall's playing some of the best ball I've seen him play in forever. All right, let's move out west and let's talk about the Western Conference. Those Golden State Warriors, they seem to have righted the ship. They've won 5 in a row. They've gone ahead and pushed that lead to 2.5 games above the Spurs. Spurs lost a crucial one the other night, a couple nights ago. They still won 2 in a row, but they lost a crucial one a couple nights ago. I don't remember who it was. Forgive me for not knowing everything, but the Rockets are still there, but it doesn't look like they got a legitimate shot at the #1 seed. They're 8 games back, but they're still the #3 seed. The Jazz, the surprise team right now, who have been putting up some pretty good numbers. They sit at the 5 seed, man. The 4 seed. The Jazz are sitting at the 4 seed. Nobody saw that coming. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that the Utah Jazz would have been the #1 seed, I'd have been like, you're lying. I mean, the #4 seed, you're lying. At best, I would have thought they would have been 7 or 8. Probably would have had them missing the playoffs. But to be the #4 seed, that team is playing extremely well. So, shouts out to the Warriors, though, for getting it back together. Steph Curry got out of his shooting slump. He's been shooting the ball very well. Klay Thompson has stepped up in a big way. He had a monster game the other night. They've won 5 in a row. So, salute to that Warriors team for playing some good ball. This is the shocking thing for me in the West, though. If I look at this schedule down at the 8 seed, right now you got the Nuggets sitting at the 8 seed, 34 and 37. If this stands and if the Nuggets can't get better, this will be the first time in I don't know how many years that a team with a below 500 record is going to make the playoffs in the West. We've seen that the last couple of seasons in the East where a team below 500 makes the playoffs, but in the West, that usually doesn't happen. You usually got one or two teams above 500 that end up missing the playoffs. So we're starting to see a little bit more of a balance in that East and the West, because you still might have one team, whether it be Miami or Chicago, in the East that gets that 8 seed. But in the West, they're not used to seeing that. They're used to seeing a couple teams with above 500 records missing the playoffs. So we're starting to get some balance in the NBA, and that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. But the Clippers still sitting strong. The Thunder are going to make the playoffs, but it looks like they might end up. They're going to want to avoid Golden State in the first round, and it looks like they should do that. I don't see them dropping all the way down to the 8th seed. They're a better team than the Nuggets. They match up pretty well against the Grizzlies, and those are the two teams behind them. But those teams in front of them, the Clippers, Jazz, the Rockets, Spurs, and the Warriors, I think they might be able to match up with the Jazz, just because the Jazz have absolutely nobody that can guard Russell Westbrook. But the Jazz have just got cogs. They just got cogs at every position that do their job and play their role. So I don't know. The West is going to be very interesting once the playoffs get here. I'm excited to see what's happening in the West because, yeah, Golden State is absolutely the clear favorite and San Antonio is the number 2. But those lower seeds, man, anything can happen. And some of those teams are some matchup nightmares for Golden State and San Antonio. Not really. But it's still going to be interesting to play out. Same in the East. So, all right, we'll see what happens. We're going to wrap this up. You guys know, as we always do every week, every day, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. It's your boy, Mr. Vine, and as always, peace.
Yeah.
100, y'all.
Mr. Vine. Sweatbox. Let's go. We celebrating on this one, baby.